presented by the all-new Civic, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Beautiful Colorado. We are at Coors Field for the finale of this three-game series. The two teams have split the first two games. That's 26-year-old Tyler Anderson going to the mound. He'll make the start in this final game against the Blue Jays. And Anderson has dealt with injuries throughout his career. And today he will get his first look at the Toronto Blue Jays. Let's take a look at the Jays lineup for John Gibbons. 5 games over 500. Devin Travis, this series is 5 for 9 with a double and a home run, 3 RBIs. He leads the Blue Jays in hits with 5 hits. And right behind him, how about Josh Donaldson? He has worn out left-handed pitching this season to the tune of a .342 average. Last night, Donaldson had a 3-run triple that banged off the wall in right field. They are set to take on Tyler Anderson.
He will be making just his 4th career start. He was recalled from their AAA team Albuquerque on June the 11th. He was another one of those Rocky first-round draft picks. That was in 2011. That was in the first-year player draft. He became the first Oregon Duck to be selected in the first round of the MLB draft since San Diego chose Dave Roberts first overall in 1972. He missed all of last season due to some elbow issues. He's been injured a lot in his short career, his professional career. He's never faced the Blue Jays, but his last time out 5 days ago, he set a career high in strikeouts with 8 against the Arizona Diamondbacks. He did that in just 5 2/3 innings.
Defensively last night, Colorado committed 4 errors, and they kicked it around pretty dramatically. Brandon Barnes has had a good series. He's in left field. Charlie Blackmon's the center fielder, and Carlos Gonzalez, he's been terrific with the bat. Arenado's at third, and Adames back at shortstop for the second time in this series. Daniel Descalz was at second, and the veteran Mark Reynolds at first. And we get our first look at Tony Wolters behind the plate this afternoon.
Those 4 errors now give them 51 errors on the season for the Rockies. Charlie Blackmon weighed one of them, just his second throw this season. He's got a .985 fielding percentage. I've been very impressed with him in the outfield. It's a very spacious outfield here at Coors Field.
First pitch of the game, and hit right back up the middle for a base hit. Ezekiel Carrera didn't waste any time. He sets the tone for this first inning.
He didn't even give me a chance to ask you a question, partner. Who has the highest batting average against left-handed pitching this year for the Blue Jays? Ezekiel Carrera. He came into this game a .402 batting average versus lefties, and he doesn't waste any time.
These Blue Jays, of course, are terrific in the first inning. Top of their order is very dangerous, especially now with Devin Travis swinging the bat so well, batting second. As we mentioned, Devin 5 hits in this series. First pitch strike from Anderson.
You know what's so impressive about Devin? He's got the power. 5 home runs already this season. But he can hit the ball all over the place. They are shading him to right field. One of his hits yesterday came to right field.
Shoots that ball down the right side. It's going to reach the seats, out of play. Devin's hitting over 300 in the month of June. Just another game in June tomorrow. The opener of the 4-game Cleveland Indians series at Rogers Center.
That's as straight up as you can get as the center fielder is just shading him to right field.
Well, that's a pretty good move. Anderson has a funky leg kick when he throws it home, and he used the same kick to go to first.
You're right. As there's a little bit of a hesitation on when he goes to home, and that's going to be tough for the Blue Jay runners at first base. That is a good-looking pickoff move.
Comes back over there again.
Those lefties that hang that front foot up a long time as a base runner, you're just not sure. You got to start looking for other things that might give away when he's going over to first base. Maybe his glove comes up. Maybe it stays down close to his body when he's coming over to first base. That is something that Tim Leeper spends a lot of time, the first base coach, studying and analyzing the opposition. He'll look at moves over to first base from every one of the pitchers on this staff to try and get an idea of when they are going home.
First base coaches keep a stopwatch in their hand, and The key to that stopwatch is as soon as the pitcher makes his first move, he will hit that stopwatch, and then the second time is when that ball hits the catcher's glove. And they look for a time around 1-4 to 1-5 to give them the green light. That might suggest to them they can steal a base.
Yeah, and you add that to a catcher, his time from glove to second. And if those numbers add up, that'll give you an idea of if you can try and steal. This guy, Blue Jays, not real sure about him. They've never faced him before. He might be a guy where you just get a giant lead like Carrera's got right now, and you go on his first move. Just try and steal off of the pitcher.
There he goes. There's the first move. Throw to second is in time. Carrera went on the first move, but unfortunately for the Blue Jays, that move was to first base.
Yeah, you're hoping and you're guessing that he is going home, but Anderson holds that leg up just long enough, and Carrera, you can see he's getting out there, and he's going to go as soon as Anderson's first move. He's going to try and take off and steal it on the pitcher. And unfortunately for the Blue Jays, he came to first base.
There's a changeup for a strikeout. Quick turnaround after the leadoff single. Now there are 2 outs and nobody on.
He's got a good changeup. And he uses it against Devin Travis right there.
Two down, Josh Donaldson. Donaldson hitting very well against lefty pitching this season. He's got 9 extra base hits against lefties. It's a high fly ball to left field down the line. What a nice play by Brandon Barnes. He stayed with it. Tumbles onto the warning track to complete the inning. 3 up, 3 down. The Blue Jays get a leadoff single. After a rocky night defensively, Rockies get a good play to start this ball game from Brandon Barnes in left. Power and left-handed power as well. They're still 3 games under 500, third in the National League West. Nolan Arenado, the young third baseman, is a terrific player, both with the glove and the bat. He's running an 11-game hit streak. He has 195 RBI since the start of 2015. That's the most in the majors. Carlos Gonzalez this series, 6 for 8. 2 of those 6 hits have been 3-run home runs. And he's driven in 8 runs. A terrific ball player. He had 4 hits in last night's game.
Yeah, hot is Carlos Gonzalez, so you got to be very careful with him. Aaron Sanchez gets the start, his 16th of the season this afternoon. He received a no decision his last outing. That was against the White Sox. He has not lost since April the 22nd. In fact, he's won 6 consecutive decisions, the most by a Jays starter, 23 years of age or younger. This is his debut versus the Rockies this afternoon. 6 innings last time against the Chicago White Sox.
First pitch to Charlie Blackmon is in there for a strike.
Got to be careful with this guy too. Talking about a guy who can get on base. He's got a .306 average. He's also hit 17 leadoff home runs.
He gets jammed with that inside heater. He was the player of the week, Blackmon was, for the week of June 20th through the 26th. He hit .424 during that stretch and had at least 1 hit in all 7 games. Had 14 hits and 5 home runs for a week.
5 home runs, that's the thing. He's got some surprising power out of that leadoff spot. Those 17 home runs as a leadoff batter. Leadoff home run, that's a club record.
So Sanchez quickly ahead 0-2 to Charlie Blackmon, who needed a new bat. Josh Tolle is behind the plate. Russell Martin caught last night's game, and after a 2-hour and 41-minute delay, the game took 3 hours and 51 minutes. So Russell Martin out of the lineup today. Upstairs.
Boy, not a bad idea right there, just to come inside and establish that fastball early on to these left-handers. It's going to be very interesting to see how the curveball works this afternoon from Aaron Sanchez.
So far, he doesn't need it as he strikes out Blackmon. The high fastball gets the leadoff man. Let's take a look at the Blue Jays defensively. A little bit different lineup today. Ezekiel Carrera is in left field. Kevin Pillar continues to make dazzling plays in center. Junior Lake starts in right field. Donaldson, Tulowitzki, Travis, and Encarnacion around the infield, and Josh Tolle handling Aaron Sanchez today.
Another great play by Kevin Pillar in center field. Last night he started every game but 3 this year. Pillar has 680 2/3 innings played in the outfield, by far the most in Major League Baseball. This guy plays every day, and remember, he fouled a ball off of his knee in last night's game.
He got smoked on that foul ball.
And he makes the call and answers the bell this afternoon.
This is Christian Adames, who's playing shortstop. He has played shortstop, second, and shortstop in the 3 games. Batting .243, he's a switch hitter. There's a breaking ball. We talked to Jeff Houston, who is the color analyst for the TV broadcast here in Colorado. He's been here a long time, and we asked him about the effects of this altitude on the curveball.
One of their pitching coaches is Darren Holmes. He's the bullpen coach, and he had a great curveball. He said, it's not like you can't throw a curveball. You just have to set your sights just a little bit lower because it's not going to break as much as you think. So instead of aiming for the bottom of the knee, you might want to go towards the shin area. Just aim your sights just a little bit lower with the curveball, but you still have to be able to throw it.
Just have to be able to make adjustments with it, especially your sights. 2-2 to Adames. That's a pretty good pitch. Didn't get the call from Nick Brentz, the home plate umpire. Full count, 1 out. Nolan Arenado is on deck. Arenado, the young third baseman, has an 11-game hit streak. Ground ball. Tulowitzki knows all about this infield. 2 up, 2 down for Sanchez. Nolan Arenado hitting .348 during the 11-game hit streak. A terrific young player that is a great two-way player. He's won 3 Gold Gloves already in his young career.
And in the month of June, he is tearing the cover off the ball. Gets his first look at Aaron Sanchez. Over 300 this month. He's got 11 doubles and 22 RBIs in the month of June. Just hitting everything that's thrown his way.
Another ground ball. Big hop for Tulowitzki. Good inning for Sanchez. He sets down the side in order. 1, 2, 3.
Encarnacion is going to be leading off, and it's no secret where you don't want to pitch this guy. Look at that center cut and the types of pitches that he has hit for home runs this year. Middle in for Edwin Encarnacion fastballs. He's been talking all year that early on that he wasn't hitting his pitch, but in the month of June he's been getting these same types of pitches and he's been knocking them out of the ballpark. So stay out of the middle of that strike zone if you're Tyler Anderson, if you want to have success against Edwin Encarnacion.
Edwin had a 2-homer game here on Monday. The third time he's hit 2 home runs in a game this season. 24th multi-home run game of his career. Comes into this game with 21 homers and 69 RBIs. Colorado didn't give him much to hit in last night's game. He had a single in the 9th, came around to score. He was walked 3 times, once intentionally.
I think all they had to do was take a look at that first game that Encarnacion had. A couple of home runs. He turned around some good fastballs. First one from Jonathan Gray and the second one from Jason Mott. Turned him around, and they got out of here quickly, and they said, okay, that'll be enough of that. No more pitches for you to hit.
Well, they're trying to pitch him inside. They might be asking for trouble. Missed with 2 inside pitches. It's 2-1 to Encarnacion. Tony Wolters, the young catcher, making his 31st start behind the plate, handling Tyler Anderson. He's a converted infielder.
He has only been catching for a couple of years.
He was in the Indians organization, and he was a middle infielder, and they're calling for catcher's interference right there. So he got a little aggressive trying to catch that pitch outside. The home plate umpire calls him for catcher's interference. And Edwin will go to first. It is not an at-bat for Edwin.
And Walt Weiss is going to get an explanation from the home plate umpire, but right away you can see Edwin point that something happened. Wolters reached out and hit his bat. That's a no-no. One more time. There it is. Hit him right in the hand.
You can see it hit on the heel of his glove. Usually it's on the webbing because you try to reach out and catch that, but that hit him on the heel of the glove, and he knew it, so did Edwin. So it's an error on the catcher, not an at-bat for Edwin.
That is 7 errors now for the converted infielder behind the plate.
Tell you what, you watch a 3-game series here in Colorado, you're liable to see anything.
We saw hail on the field yesterday. I've never seen that before.
And it wasn't Chip. Troy Tulowitzki. Tulo hit a home run last night in his second at bat, his 12th of the season. He is on the offensive leaderboards in the franchise history of Colorado in many categories. He's one of 6 Rocky hitters to collect over 1,000 hits. He's 5th all time on that list with 1,165 hits.
He needs to start doing some damage against left-handed pitching, but it's not going to happen here. Strikes out again against a left-hander. Tyler Anderson with that exaggerated stop and then start, cuts that ball on the outside corner, and he's punched out.
1 out, Kevin Pillar. Pillar, well, he was on base all night long in last night's game. He had 3 hits. That's a good pickoff move over at first, even if you're not a base stealer.
Yeah, no argument from the Blue Jays. That's just a great move. He hangs that leg up and he doesn't cross over the plane from the pitching rubber. And he does a really neat thing too. When he delivers the ball to first base, he walks down off the mound.
Pillar pulls it through the hole for a base hit. Encarnacion stops at second. First and second with 1 out.
You mentioned he was on base a lot in last night's ball game. He had a great catch in the outfield. Starts this afternoon off with a base hit.
Kevin was on base 4 of the 6 plate appearances he had. Had 3 hits and reached on a fielder's choice in last night's game. He had a double in the opener, 1 for 3 on Monday night. So here is Junior Lake. He had a pinch hit base hit last night. Lake hit a long home run Sunday in Chicago against Chris Sale. I mean, it was to dead center.
He's got some pop. Had some decent games when he was with the Chicago Cubs. Now gets a chance against a left-hander. Anderson doesn't throw that hard, so this should be a nice little matchup for the Blue Jays and Junior Lake. You can sit on his off-speed stuff if you want to, and then you can adjust to his fastball because he can't throw it by you.
Upstairs with that high changeup, and he want to get that ball down. Junior Lake hit that home run on Sunday. That's his 17th major league home run. As Pat mentioned, he had a good run in Chicago in 2014. He played the most major league games that season, hit 9 home runs and 308 at bats. Junior's just 26 years old. He's been around for a while, but hasn't really been able to establish himself. He played parts of 3 seasons with the Cubs, spent second half of last year in Baltimore. Base hit to right, and Encarnacion's going to come around to score. Pilar goes to third. Here's the throw to second. Lake slides in safely with an RBI double, and the Blue Jays break out on top.
That is a nice piece of hitting from Junior Lake. Your tendencies when you're facing a left-hander doesn't throw hard, you start thinking about, okay, I can pull the ball for extra bases, but there's extra bases down the right field line. Takes that pitch the other way, shoots it into the corner for extra bases. Encarnacion's going to score easily. Kevin Pilar goes first to third on that double, and the Blue Jays are in business.
First double of the season for Junior Lake, and now Josh Thole steps to the plate, lefty on lefty as he faces Anderson. Junior Lake gives the Blue Jays the lead. It's his second RBI. Josh Thole hits a soft liner to short as Amos makes the catch. Hit it toward the end of the bat, and the shortstop was able to make the grab.
Hoping that the infield would come in to try to cut that run off the plate. If they did, this was going to be into the outfield for a hit. He hit it right off the end of the bat. Might have broke his bat, but it's a soft liner that the shortstop can run back to the outfield grass and make a catch on.
Aaron Sanchez, the pitcher. He goes after the first pitch and bounces it toward first. Anderson went after it. Now he recovers and they collide. Sanchez is safe and 2 runs score. So Anderson went after the ball, then decided he wasn't going to get it. Went to the bag, and Sanchez hustling down the line. They collided as Sanchez stepped on first. 2 Blue Jay runs come in to score.
That's the good news. The bad news, Aaron Sanchez looks like he got shaken up right here. He's thinking about base hit, and there's the collision. It looked like his hand, his throwing hand, jammed down on the ground. Watch it right there. And he's holding his right hand and his elbow as he is called safe by the umpire. That's the one thing about interleague play. Pitchers just not normally swinging a bat. They're not running the bases. It's just something that they haven't done. and now their most valuable pitcher. Looks like he's shaken up just a little bit.
Well, George Poulos, the trader, making sure that he's all together. He's going to continue, and you're right about it. Pitchers, they don't run the bases, they don't swing the bat, so they're asked to do some things they're not comfortable with. Anderson made a bad play. He went after the ball where he should have just gone to the bag, turned it over to Reynolds, and it would have been a routine play. Because then when he recovered, he was out of position to get to the base. Jeff Nelson on the right, he's the crew chief. He is in communication as the Rockies have asked for the video review. This replay review is powered by Samsung. So it's an infield hit with 2 RBIs. And they're going to review it, and that's the way the play stands on the field. Let's take a look at it right here.
Is his foot on the base? It looks like he's got a cleat on the base. And then he is able to hold on after the collision from Sanchez, and there's the call right there. It is out, so take 2 runs off the board for the Blue Jays.
So Sanchez is ruled out, going to video review. And the Blue Jays lose a couple of runs, but they still have a 1-0 lead.
For Josh Thole. Thole has never caught Sanchez as a starter. In fact, the last time he caught him was back on October 4th, 2015, when he entered the ball game in relief of Russell Martin, and Sanchez was coming out of the bullpen. Now he will be catching a conventional pitcher, likely over 6 or 7 innings. Ben coach DeMarlo Hale telling me that Thole will need to be in a different mindset. He'll likely set up a little differently, more fundamental in his stance. Thole will be catching 97, 98 with sink, in stark contrast to that knuckleball. He will also be catching in back-to-back ball games with R.A. Dickey going tomorrow. So not to mention the fatigue factor, Buck. Unlike Sanchez, who was able to go back to the hotel to get some rest, Thole had to stay till the end of last night's ball game because he was the last guy on the bench for John Gibbons.
Well, hey, so you and I stayed too, and we're ready to go today, so that's no problem.
I feel pretty good.
That feels great. No fatigue up here.
You know what's going to be interesting this inning? Josh Thole, he's going to be able to move to the corners now because of that fastball that can move. But after the collision, we saw Sanchez shaking out his hand. Let's make sure he can throw the ball over the plate where he needs to.
Aaron misses with that first pitch. 1-0 Blue Jays. This is Carlos Gonzalez. What a season he's put together.
One more time, the end of the second inning, you can see Sanchez, he hit the ground hard. The hand was there to brace the arm. You know, you might have a wrist problem. Looked like the elbow then hit the dirt also.
Ground ball up the middle. Tulowitzki was shaded in that direction. Makes an easy play of it.
And that's a good sign. There's nothing wrong with his fastball. He was able to come back from a 2-0 count and get an out. It's always scary when the pitcher, and we've seen him over the years, Buck, pitchers that are not hitters and they're not used to it getting injured doing something they're not used to.
You and I, when we played, we always talked about pitchers not being athletes. But it's a different story now. Aaron Sanchez is a terrific athlete, and Yeah, he's probably a little bit sore and he hit that ground hard, but structurally it appears that he's fine. Says Mark Reynolds. Hazel made a great point about Josh Thole catching Sanchez, and we've heard it from Russell Martin, who catches him all the time. Sanchez is hard to catch because he throws hard and he's got great movement on his fastball. Russell said several times this year, generally when I'm catching a pitcher, I try to frame it and make it a nice catch for the umpire. He said with Sanchez, I'm just trying to catch his fastball.
And when he doesn't have that pinpoint control, it can be even tougher. That ball starts shooting all over the strike zone and it moves so much. I still think it's going to be easier to catch this guy than catch the knuckleball.
Oh, no question.
The knuckleball, you have no idea where that thing's going.
And Josh can make some adjustments. I mean, let's not forget Josh Thole was a pretty good catcher for the Mets. In fact, caught the first no-hitter thrown in Mets history when Johan Santana pitched that no-hitter. He also caught R.A. Dickey in New York when Dickey won the Cy Young. Tulowitzki's been busy early on. This is his fourth play already. He's handled them all cleanly.
Make your renovation a cut above during the DIY Expert Sale, only at Home Building Center and Home Hardware Building Center.
The Blue Jays are wrapping up their 6-game road trip. They were 1-2 in Chicago. They hope to go 2-1 here in Colorado. Daniel Descalzo starting at second base for a second time in this series. He goes after the first pitch. Tulowitzki's going to have that go over his head into shallow center. That's a tough play for a shortstop. You're not sure how hard it's hit. He tried to drift back on it. It was just beyond his reach.
Base hit all the way, fights off that inside fastball. Even Tulo with those long arms and long strides cannot come up with that one. That is the first hit of the ball game for the Rockies.
First base runner for Colorado. This is Brandon Barnes, the left fielder. Barnes, just recalled from the minor leagues, has had a good series. He had 3 hits in Monday's game, including 2 hits in the 7th inning. Shows bunt and fakes his strike.
Yeah, just recalled 12 days ago, and he doesn't want to go back to the minor leagues. He's 11 for 30 since he was recalled.
Had a pair of hits in last night's game. He's got 5 hits in the series, including 2 doubles.
He's been impressive in the outfield, too. He made a nice catch in the 1st inning. He's thrown out a couple of runners in this series.
He got beat by that fastball. Brandon Barnes began his career with the Houston Astros, came to the big leagues for the first time in 2012. He came here in a trade that included Dexter Fowler going down to Houston. That was in December of 2013.
Looks like Brandon Barnes on that previous pitch that he fouled off, that he might have hurt something in his lower half. I don't know if it's a groin or a knee, but he's taking his time getting back into that batter's box. He's trying to stretch it out.
Well, the Rockies are really banged up right now. They've got 2 of their regulars on the bench, and Barnes looks very tentative as he swings at that curveball, and he doesn't look like he's 100%. Strikeout for Sanchez on the hook.
9769 to earn My Blue Jays points just for watching today's broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage. The code must be entered by 11:59 tonight. And don't forget to look for a new card tomorrow. Buck.
Thank you, Hazel. The Blue Jays are closing in on their 90th game, and Sanchez and Pete Walker having a chat, and then I think that was about pitch selection. Then Sanchez looks at his scraped up elbow, and it doesn't appear to be a concern. He's probably got a little bit of a strawberry on that elbow more than anything.
I hope that's all it is, right? Should be okay.
This is the 80th game for the Blue Jays. They have 23 road wins. That ties them with Cleveland and Texas for the most road wins in the American League. And now have an 11-game homestand to wrap up the first half of the season.
Does it seem like we've been on the road all year? To me, it does. 11 games you mentioned right before the break. There's another big homestand in July.
Herrera breaks his bat and lines out to the second baseman. The Blue Jays really picked things up offensively in the month of June, in particular since June 10th. They're impressive in all of their offensive numbers.
Averaging about 7 runs a game since June the 10th. 293 batting average. They've hit 36 home runs, but they only have a 9-7 record with all that offense.
Blue Jays got great pitching in April and May. Then the pitching kind of came back a little bit. The offense picked it up, and that's the result, a 9-7 record, despite the fact teams nearly hitting 300.
Well, they got to get that back together. The pitching, marrying that up with the hitting. That's when you can go on those long winning streaks. Last year, the Blue Jays had 2 11-game win streaks when everything was clicking. The pitching, the hitting, the defense, everything was working. They need another one of those.
Devin Travis. Boy, he does exactly what you hear the phrase, stays inside the ball. He never really thinks about pull first. He thinks about driving the ball back up the middle to the opposite field.
When he first came up off of his rehab assignment, his timing was off just a little bit, but it's back now.
He strikes out. That's 3 strikeouts for Tyler Anderson. 2 down. You mentioned the 2 11-game win streaks a year ago. So far, the longest winning streak for the Blue Jays is 4. They just haven't been able to put anything together over the long haul.
Yeah, it takes one. You get one of those things where you're good for like 2 weeks, where you win everything, everything's going well, and it can really have a snowball effect on the whole team.
Josh Donaldson takes one outside. The Blue Jays are going to see the impact of an 11-game win streak tomorrow. Cleveland comes into Rogers Center for the first of 4 games. They are riding an 11-game win streak. They're getting some good pitching. They're getting timely hitting. They've had a lot of guys step up and fill in for lost regulars.
Yeah, even though they've lost some regulars. Michael Brantley's been on the disabled list. He hasn't barely played all season, but they're getting help from everybody. Their starting pitching has been outstanding.
Donaldson waves at that off-speed pitch. It's 2 balls and a strike. Cleveland atop the American League in starting pitching. They have a 35-19 record from their starters, and their ERA 3.59. For comparison's sake, the Blue Jays are 34-19. With a difference in the standings, of course, the bullpens. Cleveland has a much more effective bullpen. There's a high fly ball to left. Barnes is back. This ball's gonna go. Home run, Donaldson. Boy, there's a Coors Field home run for you.
If there ever was, that was it right there. He made Josh Donaldson look really bad on the previous pitch. It was a changeup that he had a half swing at. I think he went right back to the same pitch, but Josh looked like he hit it off the end of the bat, and it was just going to be a fly ball to the warning track, but that thing just kept carrying and carrying, carried right out of here.
Boy, he is so strong, and he gets them in the air, and they will fly. That's home run number 18 for Donaldson, and there's a fair ball inside the bag at third for Encarnacion. He's headed for second, and will get there as Encarnacion jogs into second with his 19th double of the season.
Let's take a look at that swing one more time from Josh Donaldson. Watch where the pitch is. It's away, and it's off the end of the bat. It looked like a fly ball, but the thing just kept going. You can see he stayed back just long enough, and that one lands in the second row. It's 390 to left center field, but it plays like it's 360.
For Donaldson, that's his 4th home run against lefty pitching, but he's hitting over 340 against the Southpaws. The Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead, and Josh Donaldson, boy, has he picked it up in the month of June. Donaldson, in the month of June, now has 5 home runs, 20 RBIs.
Came into this game 368 in the month of June, and he's going to add to that.
Troy Tulowitzki. Base hit to right field. That's going to score Encarnacion. Tulowitzki drives it into right. Edwin jogs in, and it's a 3-0 Blue Jays lead.
That's the thing about the Blue Jays and their offense. It's a quick strike type of offense. You got Carrera, Travis go down in about 4 pitches, and then home run, double, and now single. I love to see this. Tulowitzki staying aggressive, especially with guys in scoring position. Struck out his last time up. This time crosses up the defense and shoots the ball to right field.
For Tulowitzki, that's RBI number 31. 2-out rally. Donaldson hit a 2-out home run. Encarnacion doubled after that, and Tulowitzki cashes in Edwin.
Got to get his bat going, especially against lefties. On this road trip, he got his first extra base hit against a left-handed pitcher. That was that home run against Chris Sale. So it's good to see him stay aggressive, especially with guys in scoring position.
3-0 Blue Jays. Kevin Pillar singled through the left side of the infield his first time up. Blue Jays getting a second look at Tyler Anderson.
And they like what they see.
Changeup, and Pillar was fooled.
That's 3 straight changeups he's thrown to Kevin. Look for something off speed. You can still adjust to his fastball.
That ball gets away, and
foul ball.
It's a foul ball. The umpire indicating foul ball. So Tulowitzki will go back to first. One and two to Pillar. Chopper up the first baseline, foul.
Looked like he was looking for something off speed on that swing.
Well, you're right. You can still adjust to his fastball. It's not that hard. So even when you look for an off-speed pitch, you can still fight off the fastball.
He's going to be around the plate. He has thrown 44 pitches so far in this game. 36 of them have been strikes, just 8 balls so far. So he's going to be around the plate. So just be ready to swing.
Little chopper back to the mound. Anderson throws to first. That's the inning, but the Blue Jays score a pair. including a 2-out home run. Josh Donaldson with his 4th home run against lefty pitching, home run number 18 for the season. The Jays lead it 3-0.
Source for NHL free agent news. Join Hockey Central signing season Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific time on Sportsnet or live stream on Sportsnet Now. Buck, big trade news in the NHL. The Oilers have sent Taylor Hall to the Devils in return for Adam Larson. Of course, Sportsnet Central will have more on that a little later on tonight.
Well, I've been told Taylor Hall is one of the best left wingers in the league, so it's a significant trade indeed. Lots more coming up, obviously. It is trade season, free agent signing period, and all of that coming up in the NHL. So stay tuned. We've got it all for you. This is Tony Wolters, the catcher. He gets jammed and lines out softly to the shortstop.
They need to pick on somebody else other than Troy Tulowitzki. He's been busy.
Tulo has had 5 plays, 4 ground balls, and a line drive so far in this game. And the base hit, the only base hit, went over his head into shallow left center. I'm sure Tulowitzki has enjoyed these 3 games here, and he got it out of the way. I imagine there was a lot of anticipation about coming back here and how he was going to be received by the fans. And on Monday night in his first plate appearance, he was really extended a terrific ovation and a welcome back to Colorado. And it was appropriate. Yes. He deserved it.
He did some great things when he was here with the Rockies. And he also had to deal with the media that first day. The scrum in the dugout, the whole dugout was filled with media. And it was a lot of hellos and good to see yous and, you know, reacquainting himself with the media here. Got that out of the way on Monday. Get this series out of the way, and then he can. What he was saying was at the end of his tenure here, it just ended in a weird way. Remember, he was on the road in Chicago, and then he was pulled out of a ball game, and he didn't get to say his proper goodbyes. He got to do that here.
Well, the fans remember him as being a very good player for a long time. 1-2, 1 out. Blue Jays have a 3-0 lead. This is Taylor Anderson. We saw Anderson in game 1 of this series. He came up to pinch hit for John Gray and dropped down a sacrifice bunt with 2 strikes. Bouncing ball to first. Jim Encarnacion will step on the bag. 2 down. So now turn the lineup over. Sanchez showing no signs of any concerns about the elbow. If you're just joining us, he had a collision with the Colorado starting pitcher at the bag at first base on a ground ball shoot. The first baseman, Mark Reynolds, they both collided as they met at the bag, and Sanchez tumbled to the ground.
He was initially called safe. Here it is one more time. The pitcher right in his way. There's nothing that Aaron could do, but look how he hits the ground very hard with that right side. Blue Jays scored 2 runs on that play, and those were taken off after the review. But you're right, it looks like so far so good for Aaron.
First pitch changeup at 86, and that's significant. He was able to take a lot of velocity off his fastball, and that's the separation that you want to see between fastball velocity and the changeup.
And then you throw a fastball up and in like that. We were talking to him the other day, and I asked him, what is the biggest pitch that has come along for you since you have been a starter? I thought he was going to say curveball, and he said my changeup. I really feel like I can throw it now and take enough off of it.
Tulowitzki gets a piece of it, but it's off his glove into left field. Charlie Blackmon has a base hit. Another ground ball to the shortstop, but this one sneaks past Tulowitzki.
They were playing Blackmon the pole, so he was shading him up the middle, as you can see. Blackmon just inside outs that ball. Well, that's a good sign. Another ground ball. They haven't hit a ball in the air yet where an outfielder had to make a play. The base hit was just a little blooper past Tulowitzki. Everything else has been on the ground or a strikeout.
Christian Adames grounded out to shortstop his first time up. Fouls this one straight back. Just a short sampling over the 3 games we have seen Adames, but he's kind of an impressive guy at the plate. Aggressive switch hitter. Swings the bat well. Swings it with a lot of confidence. You can see that.
Can play the middle of the diamond. We've seen him at second. We've seen him at shortstop. Yeah, he's got a nice looking bat. He's only hit 1 home run, but he'll spray that ball around the field.
Blackmon dove back in ahead of the throw. Blackmon has 6 steals this year, but a year ago he stole 43. The Blue Jays last season were the best in the major leagues at throwing out base runners. They caught 40% of the base stealers. That was first in the major leagues. This season they're 27th. They've thrown out just over 20% of the base stealers.
Josh Tolley at 31%, 4 for 13.
Chopped towards second. Blackmon has to hold up. Adames is retired. Sanchez has thrown 3 innings. Has allowed just 2 hits. The Blue Jays have a 3-0 lead.
One rated travel rewards card in Canada. The WestJet RBC World Elite MasterCard. Visit rbc.com/WestJet to apply today. And Buck, the NHL trades are coming fast and furious. Another huge one to pass along. The Montreal Canadiens have traded defenseman PK Subban to Nashville for another D-man, Shea Weber. We will keep everybody up to date. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. That is fast and furious. Some big names being moved about in the NHL. More to come, I'm sure.
Wonder if those fans that we just got a shot of out in the bleachers out there, they're on their phones, if they're keeping up with all the trade activity going on.
You bet everybody is tuned in now with the hockey trading period and free agent signing period. Junior Lake, the right fielder. Junior had a double down into the right field corner his first time up. Anderson's shown a pretty good changeup here this afternoon.
That one in a little cut fastball, and he will compete. But you just watch him. Watch where the catcher sets up his glove and then where the ball ends up. That one is going to be up and it's down. And it crosses up Junior Lake. That's one thing that I've noticed in this series with these young pitchers that we have seen from the Colorado Rockies. The last thing to come, it's not stuff. It's not ability, it's command, and just haven't seen great command from these young pitchers. They've been high draft picks. As Walters, the catcher, squeezes that one. They're high draft picks, so they're drafted on their ability and their promise, but right now their fastball command, the command of their stuff, has not been very good.
You cannot be a successful big league pitcher until and unless you command your fastball. I don't care how hard you throw. It doesn't make any difference. You've got to be able to make quality pitches to get these big league hitters out.
But they need pitching badly. They need pitching. So some of the young kids that we have seen in this series, you know, probably are not finished developing as pitchers. And the thing that I see is just they just have not been able to command the pitches and throw it where they need to.
This is a very difficult atmosphere, not only because it's the major leagues, but here Walt Weiss understands asking pitchers to learn how to pitch at Coors Field is a daunting challenge. You can imagine how many times a young pitcher has made a good pitch here at Coors Field. The ball flies out of the ballpark. They come back and said, "You told me that's where I was supposed to pitch him."
Yeah, what did I do wrong? You know what? You didn't do anything wrong. It's like pitching in the PCL, you know, Pacific Coast League. That is a very tough league to pitch in.
Tony Wolters, the catcher behind the plate, does a nice job of receiving the baseball. And as we mentioned, he's only been catching for a couple of years.
Goes back to his days as a middle infielder, those soft hands.
Tony hits it hard, but foul down the right side.
You know, it's a great story about Walters that we were talking about. He was with the Cleveland Indians, and Terry Francona was the manager and said to him, "Hey, I think you'd be a pretty good catcher." He said, "Give me a day to think about it." And he came back and said, "Okay, I'm going to try it." And here he is.
Well, he's got the perfect physique for a catcher. Right back up the middle. Josh Tolley has a base hit.
The all-new Civic, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
One of the great musical venues in all of North America, the Red Rocks Amphitheater, not far from downtown Denver, and that's a great setting and a beautiful sight in the foothills of the Rockies.
Uh-oh, somebody missed a sign. You got to figure with just one out that he's going to be bunting. That's why that base hit by Josh Thole was so important. Aaron Sanchez still not bunting.
He waves at that breaking ball. Now it's 0-2.
After what we saw his first time up, I thought for sure he would be sacrificing that runner.
You mean that line smash to first?
No, I mean the collision at first base. That one.
Strike 3 called. Sanchez down on strikes. Four strikeouts for Anderson. He'll turn the lineup over now. Ezekiel Carrera hit the first pitch of the ball game, back up the middle for a base hit. He was caught stealing in the first inning, thrown out. It was a first move break. The pitcher Anderson went to first, and Reynolds threw a strike to the shortstop to nail Carrera, caught stealing.
Best hitter average-wise versus lefties. Came into this game at 410. Didn't take him long to get at that first hit off of the left-hander. He also has a .402 on-base percentage as a leadoff hitter. So John Gibbons has stuck him in that leadoff spot, and he has responded.
Josh Thole almost got picked off.
Yeah.
He was just leaning in the other direction, not anticipating a throw to first. He's not a base stealing threat, but he almost got caught leaning in the wrong direction.
One more time, watch him as he picks his leg up. What you want to do is don't commit either way until he lets go of the baseball. You'll have plenty of time to either get back to first base or get your secondary lead. What you don't want to do is go out there and lean one way or another, because if you guess wrong, you're not in a position to advance. So get out there, take your lead. When he picks his leg up, just stand there, just freeze, and then read wherever he goes. I think the last thing you want to do is start leaning back towards first base.
Yeah, just get a comfortable lead where you can get back easily and don't move until he turns it loose.
Or either way, either first base or home.
Three and 0 to the leadoff hitter, Ezekiel Carrera. Devin Travis is on deck. Travis has struck out twice so far this afternoon.
Don't fall asleep on a 3-0 pitch if you're a base runner. I've seen this happen before, where you figure, okay, it's 3-0, he's just going to go home, no problem, and he throws over to first base, and you end up getting picked off.
Fastball in there. It's 3-1 now. Blue Jays have a 3-0 lead. Josh Donaldson with a 2-out home run in the third. Troy Tulowitzki drove in the third run of the ball game, also in the third inning. Changeup on a 3-1 pitch. There goes Thole, ball 4. A 2-out walk. That's the first walk issued by Anderson. He has 5 strikeouts against the 1 walk.
You know what the Blue Jays have done the last 2 nights against the Rockies? They've turned that lineup over. Even with the pitcher in the lineup, Carrera batted leadoff yesterday. 6 at-bats. He was on deck in the 9th inning. It was going to be his 7th at-bat. We're in the 4th inning. That was his 3rd already. They have turned that lineup over for these guys.
Mentioned Devin Travis, 2 strikeouts so far this afternoon. Devin with 5 hits in the series. He's now 5 for 11 against Colorado. His first opportunity to play against the Rockies.
He's always hit. Wherever he has gone, he has hit. A career .318 hitter in the minor leagues.
How's that ball off his foot?
And for the short sample size that we saw last year from Devin in just 62 games, hit over 300. This time cutter hits this one right off that shin pad. I've seen a lot of that from the Blue Jays over the last 2 weeks or so.
Everybody's pitching them in. They're so good out over the plate. Pitchers are pounding them inside, and they get on top of that inside pitch. Hit it right down into their knees, ankles, and shins. 0-2. Anderson wanted to play umpire. He was headed toward the dugout.
They backdoored that cutter on Devin Travis. If he gets that one a little bit closer, Travis is going to shoot that ball to right field.
Travis wouldn't chase. It's now a 2-2 count. Greg Walters just wanted to make sure Anderson understood the count. It's been kind of a long at bat. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It's been a long inning for him. He's had a couple of strikeouts and then a walk and a single, and now a long at bat against both Carrera and now Devin Travis.
The Rockies don't know an awful lot about Devin Travis, but they have learned one thing in this 3-game series. Look where Carlos Gonzalez is playing. He's the right fielder, and he's shaded over towards the right field line. They are playing him opposite, expecting him to hit the ball to right.
And the outfielders are deep. I think they understand that there's some power in that swing now.
Well, there is a big gap between Barnes and Blackman in left center. Another changeup, and Travis strikes out for a 3rd time. 6 strikeouts for Anderson. He strikes out the side in the 4th. Last year for Colorado, he had 42 home runs. Well, he's halfway there this season, and we thought we'd show you what he's looking for at the plate when he hits his home runs.
Middle, in, and up. You can see all those pitches clustered closer towards the body, and from all the different colors, it tells you he can handle all those pitches. Slider, we've seen some splitters, 3 of them that he has knocked out, a curveball, fastball, 2 changeups, so he can hit all types of different pitches. 21 home runs, leads the National League. He is just a good young hitter.
25 years old in his 4th season. Drafted in the 2nd round by Colorado.
And he's a power hitter. He has drawn 36 walks and he's only struck out 41 times this year. Last year, he walked only 34 times all season long. He has already passed that, so the word is getting around that this guy's pretty good.
That was a curveball for strike 2. And that's a better curveball. Travis on the outfield grass throws wide of first. Cole is there to back up the play. It'll be a base hit for Arenado. Nice play by Tolley to guard that ball from going into the Rockies dugout.
That's a heads-up play by Tolley, anticipating that the throw could be wild. Devin Travis was playing him up the middle. You can see right here, and then Arenado, he had a base hit like this in last night's game. I think Devin is going to learn that as he spins like that 360, he's going to have to think about throwing the ball to the inside part of the base. You don't want to throw it at the guy. You want to aim to the inside part. As you start to turn like that, it'll end up being a good throw, but a heads-up play by Tolley to back it up.
That used to be common practice. You don't see it much anymore. Catchers, they don't run down the baseline. Large in part due to the fact that the seats are so close to the foul lines. Not a lot of room. Years ago, before they really made these seats much closer to the playing surface, there was a lot of ground down there, and the catchers would have to go down there and back up all of those throws to first base.
And that was your job on any ground ball, to go over there and back up. You watch some of the old highlights of baseball from the 70s. You'll see the putouts at first base, and the first baseman just throw it to the catcher who's right behind him.
Remember that? They used to throw it to Yogi Berra, and he'd flip it around the infield.
You don't see that anymore.
Carlos Gonzalez, the right fielder, he grounded out to shortstop his first time up. Gonzalez since May 23rd is at .406. And he, by his own admission, is a streaky hitter. He's had stretches of 8 home runs bunched up over the course of 10 games, and currently he's hit 13 home runs most recently.
That's the best in all of baseball since that date, May 23rd.
Donaldson gets a piece of it. It's past him and goes into left field. So Gonzalez has another base hit.
Boy, if Josh comes up with that, and that was a bullet off the bat of Gonzalez, that would have been a double play. Hit to his glove side, and he just can't come up with it. You can see he's upset with himself, because if he did, he would have turned that into 2.
2 ground ball base hits here in the 4th.
Off of the glove of infielders, just didn't get down enough. It just glances off of the end of his glove.
Now Mark Reynolds is up. He grounded out to shortstop. Sanchez will be fine if he keeps getting the ground balls. That's a pretty good pitch. He didn't get the call.
How is that not a strike?
Nick Lentz, the home plate umpire, didn't like that fastball. Mark Reynolds has 245 career home runs. On Sunday against Arizona, his first major league team, he had a walk-off home run for the first time in his career.
Just his 8th home run this season. Just 8. He is a free swinger.
Ground ball. Tulowitzki shovels to Travis. Back to first. There's that ground ball double play. 3 ground balls in the inning. 2 of them snuck through for base hits. That one didn't.
Blue Jays turned their 69th double play of the season. And what a turn by Devin Travis. Tulowitzki gave him a great feed. And I love watching this kid turn the ball at second base. Watch how he stays in there and fires that ball with plenty of time to first base.
Jeff Nelson, the crew chief, came over, and I think they're watching the weather. That's what I think.
Over the left field. One more look at that double play. Watch the turn by Travis. Stays right in there on the slide and delivers a strike over to first base. That's what they're looking at.
Yeah, there's a thunderstorm in the neighborhood, and I think the Rockies are so aware of lightning strikes. I think that's why Nelson has come in twice in this inning to check with a member of this Rockies staff. Of course, last night we had a phenomenal storm that struck very quickly, and I'm sure, and now you and I can feel it. It has just cooled off. That last breeze into the booth, much cooler. Up the middle, base hit. Sanchez couldn't make a play on it. Descalzo drives in the first Rockies run of the afternoon as Arenado scores.
He's 2 for 2. Got the first hit of the ball game for the Rockies in the second inning, and then cashes Arenado with a 2-out base hit right through the middle. This guy is an impressive player. He's a big leaguer. He has played on some good teams. He's had a lot of playoff games, and you can see why. He's a good player.
Descalzo has 44 playoff games on his resume with the Cardinals. He was part of those great Cardinals teams. Brandon Barnes, the left fielder, struck out on a breaking ball his first time up. Two and 0. There have been 4 ground balls hit this inning, and Colorado has 3 hits and a run. Sanchez got a double play off the bat of Mark Reynolds.
He's one of the best in baseball at producing those ground balls. Sometimes they find the hole.
Oh, what a play by Encarnacion. He takes a hit away from Barnes. Another ground ball out for Sanchez. Edwin has played terrific defense at first. This is reminiscent of his days at third. A hot shot, he gloves it, gets to his feet, steps on the bag to end the inning. The Blue Jays have a 3-1 lead. Now time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot is here. Head to BlueJays.com to choose your All-Star Game-worthy stars and send them to the MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard on July 12th in San Diego. Vote today, vote tomorrow, vote at BlueJays.com/vote. And Buck, Josh Donaldson needs your vote. Still trails Manny Machado of the Orioles.
Hey, so I'm voting for him. I am, I promise. I'm voting for him. He needs some votes, so let's get him there. And he certainly has had the month to do that. Get him to the All-Star game again. He has put together a heck of a month of June coming into this game. Batting .368 for the month of June. And
Fans did a great job last year in getting Josh to the All-Star game with the most votes.
Thanks to Don Cherry, who championed the cause. Grapes made a big push to get Donaldson to the All-Star game, and we want to do the same. Turns down that inside pitch. Donaldson homered in the third. For the month, Josh has 5 home runs, 23 RBIs. He had a down month of May, batted just .224, and he was dealing with some leg issues at that time.
That's right. That's right. He was talking about that. His thumb was bothering him. His legs were bothering him. Calf problems. He says, I'm finally starting to feel healthy once again.
Pops this from back over the screen, out of play.
He's got tremendous plate coverage. Even when they throw the ball away, this ball's away, he can go out there and get it. Didn't get it all, but got just enough of it, and that Coors Field effect blows the ball out of the ballpark for his 18th home run. That batting average is climbing now.
Donaldson's up to .291. Anderson and Walters are going to have a little discussion about this next pitch. It's 1-2 to Donaldson. So now the pitcher and catcher have their heads together. Down and away, it's 2-2. Donaldson got a piece of that off-speed pitch. The breeze picking up. As they say, it's freshening.
It's like it's blowing in from left field. That's where the weather comes from here. Get your right field stroke out, boys. The ball is blowing from the left field foul pole to the right field foul pole.
Donaldson was admiring where he had hit that foul ball into the upper deck just over the Blue Jays dugout. I mean, he really got around on it. Inside.
What an at bat. 8 pitches now. They're just pushing him off the plate and then trying to go down and away. And he has not given an inch to him. This will be pitch number 9 of this at bat.
Great bat. Great at bat. He walks. That's the second walk issued by Anderson. And in case you missed it, this is last night after batting practice. The skies opened up. It was a hailstorm and a flooding situation here at Coors Field. The game was delayed 2 hours and 41 minutes to start, and you could see the grounds crew. That's hail they're shoveling off the field.
That was left field, and that's what's blowing in today. That one shot that we had looked like snow. It was the hail. It was out in left field. That looked like some of the ski resorts around here in the wintertime, didn't it? We saw it all yesterday, and we got the game in.
The game would eventually start at 9:20 local time. Edwin Encarnacion has reached base twice. He reached on catcher's interference his first time up in the second. We mentioned Walters A converted middle infielder moved behind the plate at the suggestion of Terry Francona, the manager of the Cleveland Indians, and at the time Walters was a minor leaguer with them.
Fastest way to the ball, the big leagues. If you can catch that time, he might be thinking about going back to play shortstop or second base after getting his cage rattled right there.
He's actually played a lot. This is his 31st start of the season. Nick Hundley doing the catching. Pulled down the left side, but foul. Yeah, if you want a job and if you're an athlete playing in college or high school, go behind the plate. Baseball constantly looking for catchers that can catch and take the job seriously.
Throw, call a game, understand what you're doing back there.
You can hear thunder off in the distance, and Tony Walters, you're right, he might be thinking about, boy, this never happened at shortstop.
No. There's a good catcher just called up by the Cubs. Contreras. He looks like he's going to be a good one. I don't know if you had a chance to see him play.
Oh, yeah, I've seen him play. Hit a home run first at bat in the big leagues. He's a big offensive player, but it looks like he can catch as well. So Walters back down in the squat. He's set to go. 1-2 to Encarnacion. Arenado takes the short hop, a routine 5-4-3 double play for the three-time Gold Glover.
Make your renovation a cut above during the DIY expert sale, only at Home Building Center and Home Hardware Building Center.
Coors Field in Colorado. Arenado looked like, oh yeah, just another routine play. That was a hot shot to his glove side, and he nonchalants the 5-4-3 double play. He makes it look easy.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Just makes it look easy, like, oh, I've been doing this a long time. That ball was hit hard by Encarnacion, and watch him just pick it, flip it over to second base to start the 5-4-3 double play. Is the game that easy?
For him, it is. He's made a couple of those good defensive plays at third in this series. Tulowitzki bounces it up the middle to Scalzo. Throws him out. A couple of good defensive plays here in the fifth. We'll go to the bottom of the fifth. Blue Jays lead it 3-1 over Colorado. brought to you by WestJet. And you look at the Blue Jays schedule finishing up this road trip here in Colorado. Cleveland plays in Atlanta tonight, and then they will come to Rogers Center starting a 4-game series. Remember, July 1st, Canada Day, that's a day game, same for Saturday and Sunday. Then the World Series champs Kansas City Royals will be at Rogers Center July 4th, 5th, and 6th. And the final 4 games of the first half, the Tigers will be at Rogers Center for a 4-game series. 11 games to wrap up the first half.
It's some news about Cleveland. They've won 11 in a row. Danny Salazar is pitching tonight, so the Blue Jays have missed the hard-throwing right-hander for the Indians. And Lorenzo Cain was injured yesterday in the ball game for Kansas City. Looks like he's going on to save it.
Yeah, he's been placed on a DL, so the Blue Jays won't see Lorenzo Cain in their series. Tony Wolters. Wolters is 24 years old. As we mentioned, he signed with the Indians. Never got above Double-A in their system. And he made the conversion to a catcher. Started catching in 2013 in the Carolina League. Moved from second base shortstop to behind the plate. In 2014, he caught 66 games at Double-A Akron and went back for the 2015 season in Double-A as well. Lines this to left. Carrera coming in quickly, makes the catch.
Looks
Carrera
like
might have got that into the lights.
Yeah, I think he did. You can see him pointing one out, and right at the last instance, watch him having to fight the lights, and ducks and makes the catch. You can see him look back up in the lights. That is a very helpless feeling if you're an outfielder and that ball gets into the lights.
And he's trying to see where he can position himself to avoid the same type of play. Lights are on here, and they have been for a while. This is the pitcher, Tyler Anderson.
Looks like he can hit, doesn't he? He's got a nice looking stance, but he doesn't have a hit.
We mentioned that they sent him to the plate as a pinch hitter Monday in the first game of this series, and he dropped down a 2-strike sacrifice bunt. Pat, you mentioned that Anderson came from the University of Oregon and the highest draft pick since '72 when Dave Roberts was taken first overall in that '72 draft. This is popped up on the infield. Tulowitzki, the shortstop, right on the edge of the dirt, makes the catch. Dave Roberts went right to the big leagues. From college to San Diego, played with the Padres. He was a third baseman and played 7 or 8 years in the big leagues. He's a scout now. We see him from time to time.
We saw him down in Texas. He stopped in to take a look at some of the Blue Jay players. He is working with the Florida Marlins. And he wanted to, as he told me, take a look at some of the players that the Blue Jays have in case there's a trade. But yeah, he looks great.
University of Oregon, not really noted for baseball players. In fact, they dropped their baseball program for a long time. Picked it up again in 2009. Of course, most recently, they've been known for their football players. Yeah. Marcus Mariota, the great quarterback for the Oregon Ducks. Charlie Blackmon.
Darwin Barney is from Oregon State.
Yeah.
And Jacoby Ellsbury?
Right, Oregon State.
That's the others, not the Ducks. It's the Beavers.
Oregon State went to the College World Series, I think 3 years in a row where Barney was there. University of Oregon boasts a Hall of Famer.
In what sport?
Baseball.
In baseball.
My first manager in the big leagues, Joe Gordon.
Joe Gordon.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hall of Famer with the Yankees, played in Cleveland, part of that great team in '48 with the Cleveland Indians. 3 balls and a strike. It's a 3-1 Blue Jays lead. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Blackmon fouls it at home, hit off his leg. 2 outs. Blackmon singled his last time up. Strike 3 called. Sanchez finds the outside corner. 3 up, 3 down. The Rockies go quietly in the 5th. The Blue Jays and Sanchez have a 3-1 lead.
Presented by the all-new Civic, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
That is Union Station, just a couple of blocks away from Coors Field, and the Blue Jays scored a run in the 2nd. And then Josh Donaldson had a solo home run in the 3rd. Troy Tulowitzki an RBI single. Colorado responded with a run in the bottom of the 4th. It's 3-1 as the Blue Jays bat in the 6th. Kevin Pillar batting 6th this afternoon. Shows bunt and pulls the bat back.
You don't see that happen very often when a right-handed batter is going to drag bunt against a left-handed pitcher. Maybe he just wants to draw in Nolan Arenado. Arenado, you don't want to be bunting against him either.
Arenado made a good play on a bunt here off the bat of Carrera. A terrific defensive play in the 6th inning of Monday night's game. Pillar slashes it foul into the seats.
That's a good 2-0 hack right there. 2-0, be aggressive. Get a fastball up. Try to do some damage with it.
There's another bunt attempt, and that one is bunted foul at home plate.
That time it looked like he was trying to push it right at Daniel Descalso, the second baseman. He wasn't going to pick on Nolan Arenado. He was going to keep it away from that pitcher. Just trying to get something started here. The second baseman is playing deep. Just push it by the pitcher and use your legs.
Pillar hits one deep to left, but that's going to hang up for Brendan Barnes. He makes the catch. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Baltimore just continues to roll. Going into this game this afternoon, their run differential is plus 49. They're not really pitching that well, but they're scoring so many runs, they've been able to overcome that.
6 in a row? They've won?
Won 6 in a row, 8 of their last 10.
I think that team is a candidate to make a deal at the deadline.
I think there are 3 teams in the East that are going to make deals. Boston, Baltimore, probably the Blue Jays.
And the Blue Jays. I'm with you.
Little chopper foul. Now, I think Baltimore, they have enough tools to make some changes, and I think we might see Dylan Bundy work his way into the rotation in the second half of the season.
So they might not trade for a starter. They can trade for a reliever and take Bundy and put him in the rotation.
Baltimore's got a terrific record at home. They're 31-13 at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. But they're playing with a lot of confidence right now. They did a great job of overcoming the absence of J.J. Hardy. Manny Machado defensively didn't play great at shortstop, but he picked it up with the bat.
Yeah.
And now he's back at third with Hardy's return.
Darren O'Day should be getting close to coming back, and Caleb Joseph, I think, went on a rehab. So they're starting to get healthy also.
You know who's hitting well is Hyun-Soo Kim, batting .339. Starting to play a little bit more. Manny Machado's hitting .330. Jonathan Scopes at .298 at the start of play today. And Adam Jones has really picked it up in June. He's got 16 home runs now.
Wow.
Ground ball. Adames has it backhand, throws in time. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. We're in Denver, Colorado at beautiful Coors Field. The Blue Jays have a 3-1 lead. Josh Thole bats with 2 outs.
Here's the importance once again of that number 8 hitter in the lineup for the Blue Jays. He's got to find his way on. Get that pitcher's at bat over with.
Thole had a base hit into center field his last time up. He's 1 for 2. He lined out softly to the shortstop in the second. He's making the start today, even though R.A. Dickey doesn't pitch until tomorrow, so he'll get 2 in a row. 2-1 now. Russell Martin had a long night behind the plate last night, and he was on base a lot, had a 3-hit game.
He was on base 4 times. Came around to score 3 runs. Had a lot of pitches to deal with last night.
And caught for 3 hours and 51 minutes.
Wow. You deserve this afternoon off, Russell.
You know, I think it's a good thing that Josh is playing back-to-back games. He doesn't get to play that often. He generally just starts when R.A. Dickey pitches. But now, catching today with Sanchez, and then tomorrow, that'll be like special at-bats. And those at-bats that are so infrequent, he'll be able to bunch together some at-bats now.
Try to get some consistency up there, watching the ball.
3-2 pitch. He stays alive.
That's it. Keep battling. Keep battling here. Get on base.
Josh is hanging tough against the lefty. Aaron Sanchez has held the Rockies in check to the tune of a run on 5 hits. The Blue Jays have managed 3 runs on 7 hits against Tyler Anderson. Thole with his second hit. Another good at bat for the catcher. Josh lines it into right. That'll get the pitcher's spot up.
Just what the doctor ordered right there. 2 strikes. Get yourself aboard, and now Aaron Sanchez, instead of leading off next inning, is going to bat here with 2 outs. What a good at bat. Fouled off a couple of tough pitches. This is a career high now in pitches for Tyler Anderson. He is at the end of his afternoon.
Just for clarity's sake, Anderson making just his 4th start, and he had 8 strikeouts in his previous start. He has racked up 6 strikeouts here this afternoon, pitching into the 6th inning. Ground ball, Descalzo steps on the bag. That'll do it. Sanchez is retired on the force out. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th, 3-1 Blue Jays.
Friday, July 1st, the first 20,000 fans will receive a Canada Day towel presented by Honda. On Sunday, July 3rd, the first 20,000 fans will receive a Troy Tulowitzki bobblehead presented by Jack Links. Arrive early, gates open at 11 a.m. And with a home run versus the Rockies last night, Tulowitzki now has a home run versus 29 of MLB's 30 teams in his career. The only team he has not homered against, Buck, the Red Hot Indians, who we'll see tomorrow night as part of the Canada Day weekend festivities.
Well, Hazel, he'll have 4 opportunities to put the Indians in his book as well. Then he will have all 30 clubs with the home run. Blue Jay fans have had a nice trip here to Denver outside of that quick thunderstorm we had last night. It's been a pretty nice 3 days here in Denver.
Sun's back out.
Sun's back out.
Feels good again.
Now the infielders, Troy Tulowitzki came out and looked up at the sky to see if he needed the sunglasses. He made the decision he didn't. Aaron Sanchez pitching 5 strong innings here in Denver. He's allowed 5 hits, 1 earned run, hasn't walked a batter, and struck out 3. The only run he allowed was a result of 3 ground ball base hits.
Yeah, a couple of them found the hole, then they got the double play, and there were 2 outs. Descalzo single to center field, and then Edwin Encarnacion made a great play to shut that inning down.
Took a hit away from Brandon Barnes to save another run. It'll be 2, 3, and 4 in the Rockies batting order here in the 6th. Chopper, Sanchez will step on the bag himself, and Adames is retired. 1 out.
What an athletic play by Sanchez. He's got a chance to swing the bat today. We've seen him run the bases, and now he gets to field his position. Troy Tulowitzki's going to come in and give him just a little bit of a breather as he pounces off that mound and finishes off that play. Tulo doing the right thing, coming in to give his starter a little bit of a break. That's being in tune with what's going on.
Yeah, he doesn't miss a thing, does he? He saw Sanchez break off the mound, get that heart rate elevated a bit, so he came in and gave Aaron a chance to catch his breath. Sanchez started the road trip Friday night in Chicago, and he's wrapping it up here in Denver. High fly ball, long run for Junior Lake. That ball is into the seats, out of play. Aaron against the White Sox on Friday night, went 6 innings, charged with 2 earned runs on 8 hits. The biggest problem Sanchez had in that ball game was Melky Cabrera. Melky was 3 for 3 against Sanchez and hit a home run. That home run tied it up.
That was a 2-strike curveball that Melky had called timeout on just before he threw it. Maybe he sneaked a peek to see what the Blue Jays were going to throw him, and he hit it like he knew it was coming.
Nolan Arenado behind 0-2. Arenado had an infield hit and scored the only Rockies run in the 4th. Escalzo drove him in from 3rd.
That was a 2-strike pitch, and it was a really good pitch from Sanchez. It was a breaking ball down and away, and he just punched the ball to the right side. Now they're going to go upstairs. Yeah, he's too good of a hitter. You throw him a breaking ball, he's going to cover it.
Popped up. Pilar in center, calling for it. Now coming in. 2 down. Aaron Sanchez has pitched very well on the road this season. You look at his home road splits, and it's a dramatic difference once he gets away from Rogers Center.
Yeah, it's not like he's pitching against bad teams. He has pitched against some pretty good teams. White Sox in Baltimore, Detroit, Minnesota, and Texas are the last 5, but he's been outstanding. The strikeouts per 9 is about the same, but look at that, 74 points off the opponent's batting average and 2.5 runs off the ERA.
He has the 8th best road earned run average in the American League. ERA at 2.34. He also picked up his previous interleague win in San Francisco against the Giants. Pretty good team to play on the road.
Not a lot that you can explain about that. Maybe he just gears up just a little bit harder, knowing he's got to be a little bit better on the road.
I don't think you can read into it one way or another. I think it's just a young pitcher establishing himself as a starter in the big leagues.
Let's see how he finishes off. If he can get Cargo, another red hot hitter.
Gonzalez had a ground ball base hit through the left side of the infield in the 4th. Tulowitzki made a play on him in the 2nd to throw him out, 6-3. And now it's interesting, Tulowitzki probably wanting to know where Sanchez was going so he could position himself accordingly. Yeah, he chased that high heater.
Either that or he said, hey, I've seen this guy hit a long time. This is what you want to do with 2 strikes. They got him last night with a high fastball. Struck out in last night's ball game.
Donaldson backing up. Tulowitzki calls him off, and Tulo makes the catch in shallow left field. Another good inning for Sanchez. The Rockies down in order in the 6th.
the U.S., you can share all your experiences as they happen with friends and fans back home. With Roam Like Home from Rogers, you can use your phone exactly like you do at home, starting at $5 a day in the U.S. Go to rogers.com/roamlikehome for details. Bye.
Thank you very much, Hazel. A lot of Blue Jay fans here in Colorado. New pitcher into the ball game for the Rockies, Jordan Lyles, making just his 9th appearance of the season.
He was just recalled once again for the 3rd time. This is his 3rd stint with the Rockies this year. He's been in just 24 2/3 innings. Got great command. Got a late moving sinker. Good command with his fastball. Doesn't walk too many guys over his career. He's been around for a while. Been with the Houston Astros.
Leadoff man Ezekiel Carrera bunts it in the air. Reynolds will make the catch on the pop-up in foul ground. 1 pitch, 1 out for Lyles here to start the 7th. Devin Travis has struck out 3 times today, all against Tyler Anderson.
Devin, you're making us look bad. We were talking about you in the opening. Got to do something now.
Came into this game 5 for 9 in the first 2 games of this series, and so far he's taken the collar.
He just couldn't pick up that changeup from the left-hander. Looked like when he was looking for the fastball, he get the changeup. When he got looking for the changeup, he got the fastball. Just couldn't figure him out. Maybe he'll have some success now against the righty.
Jordan Lyles came to the Rockies in the same trade that they acquired Brandon Barnes. That was the Dexter Fowler trade in December of 2013. Travis knew it once he started that swing that it was going to be a ball, and he chased a bad pitch.
Yeah, and it's better that you just go ahead and just finish your swing instead of trying to stop it, or you might hurt yourself. That's that sinker that I was telling you about. It's a good one. Comes in late and it totally fools Devin.
There's a base hit. Devin Travis, his first hit of the day. His 6th hit of the series. Drive of the Game is brought to you by the all-new Civic, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
You want to see a Coors Field home run? Well, here it is. Josh Donaldson. It looked like it was off the end of the mat just a little bit. He didn't sting it like we have seen him in the past. It's a high fly ball. Orange goes back and kerplunk right into the 2nd row. That is our drive of the game. Josh Donaldson with his 18th home run. That came back in the 3rd inning.
Josh is 1 for 2 with a walk. Donaldson's also been dealing with a cranky neck. And you say, well, how does that impact his hitting? Well, he couldn't turn his head to get a good look at the pitcher. And the last couple of days, it's loosened up a little bit more where he can get his eyes squarely on the pitcher.
In that last homestand, he said he slept on it wrong, woke up one day and it was stiff and it was getting into his shoulder. It was affecting how he swings, how he moves. But he said to me the other day, he says, what am I going to do? Got to play. It's not bad enough that I can't play. I just have to deal with it, and I got to figure out how to play this game with it.
He said against right-handed pitchers last couple of days, what he's done is he's used a more open stance. So he'd take that front side, open it up a little bit. With that, his head would move around and give him better perspective on the release point. His swing is much more of a concern against right-handed pitchers than it is against lefty pitchers.
His swing's been a little bit more under control too, and I think that has helped him to stay on the ball. He has been known to attack that ball at times.
There's another great swing from Donaldson. He hits it into right. Travis is going to go first to third. That's the one thing about this park that plays too for base runners. The outfielders have to play so deep. If that ball goes through the infield, you got to think about advancing 2 bases.
And I asked John Gibbons about that first day we were in here. He says if they're going to play deep, you have to be able to go first to third. I was watching Devin Travis on this, and he takes one more look over his right shoulder right there before he got to the bag. He doesn't need a third base coach. He can do it on his own, and he was thinking first and third all the way. Good base running. Now let's see if Edwin can cash him in.
Good cut on that first pitch. Edwin with 29 RBIs in the month of June. Gives him 69 for the season. He's looking to become the 4th Blue Jay to record at least 30 runs driven in the month of June. Delgado drove in 34 in 2003. Bautista drove in 30 in 2012. John Olerud drove in 30 in 1993. And now Edwin has driven in 30.
He had a golden opportunity right there against a pitcher that he has had success against. Nice easy swing, shoots it through the shift. Golden opportunity cashed in by Edwin.
That gives him 70 for the season, and there's the list of June RBIs in franchise history. Carlos Delgado in 2003, Bautista, Olerud, now in Encarnacion, all with 30. And Edwin will have one more game after this game to move up on that list.
He might have another at bat in this series. He's had a good series here.
Edwin has been on base 3 times this afternoon, reached on catcher's interference in the 2nd. That is not an official at bat. (4-1) Blue Jays. Troy Tulowitzki has an RBI. Josh Donaldson at second. 3 consecutive base hits here in the 7th off Jordan Lyles after he retired Carrera to start the inning. Donaldson's batting average now at 294, creeping up on 300. American League leader in batting average, Jose Altuve, at the start of play today, batting .350. Xander Bogaerts down to .343. He's second. Then David Ortiz, Manny Machado, Ian Desmond, Victor Martinez, Mike Trout. Francisco Lindor we'll see tomorrow. He's batting .312.
Josh trying to crash the party now. 300 hitters getting close.
Donaldson, with his home run into third, has now scored 65 runs. He's second to Mookie Betts in that department.
Guy at the plate, they got to get him going. He has shown glimpses of it. He's hit a couple of home runs on this road trip, starting to drive the ball just a little bit more, and he's in an RBI spot this afternoon behind Encarnacion.
Tulowitzki left Colorado with a .299 career batting average. That's 4th in franchise history. The other 3, Walker, Helton, and Bichette, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in batting average.
He is also one of 6 rookies Rockies with 1,000 hits. We just saw the 6th the other day. Carlos Gonzalez joined that group. Todd Helton's number 1, Larry Walker, Bichette, Castillo, and Troy Tulowitzki. The only Rockies in their history to have 1,000 hits. He was a megastar when he was here. Megastar.
I think that's what was so surprising when the announcement came out that the Blue Jays had acquired Troy Tulowitzki from Colorado. I mean, that caught everybody by surprise. I mean, Blue Jays were looking to improve their ball club. But then when they brought in Tulowitzki and David Price last year.
Yeah. David Price was a shocker. Troy Tulowitzki was a shocker.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Ground ball. Arenado bobbles it. Now he tries to tag Donaldson and missed him. Las Diaz, the third base umpire, I think, like all of us, kind of anticipated that was going to be another double play. And I think Arenado thought the same thing.
Well, he's so smooth down there at third base. The ball was in his glove, and it looked like he was going to transfer it and dropped it, but then alertly went after the base runner. Here's that. He drops it, picks the ball up, and he says that he tagged Donaldson from that shot right there. It looked like he got him on his backside. One more time. Yeah. Right away, he pointed into their dugout and said, "I got him." It's like he tagged him. Donaldson trying to avoid, not there, but there. And he's going to be out.
Yeah, he missed his shoulder, but he stayed with him. And once he tagged him on the butt, he knew he got him. He might even have brushed him across the jersey, but he gets him for sure before Josh gets to third.
That's an easy call. That should take about 10 seconds to call that one. And right away, here it is one more time. Donaldson's going to try to avoid the tag by going inside. He tags him there. And there's the call. And right away, he knew that he tagged him. Las Diaz, the third base umpire, you can see he's behind the play and can't really get a good shot of that. And Arenado pointed in the dugout, and he was correct.
So now there are 2 outs for Kevin Pillar. Encarnacion's at second. Tulowitzki at first. Donaldson out, 5 unassisted on the fielder's choice. Pillar 1 for 3 today. Both you and I talked about the possibility of Kevin missing this game because he took his shot off his knee, found the ball off his right knee yesterday, but he's not one to come out of a game.
He's played the most innings of any center fielder in baseball. He has only not started 3 games all season long.
You remember last year, nobody really knew about it, but he played for, what, 3 weeks for a month with a broken hand.
Tough to get him out of the lineup. Even though that knee was bothering him, he had a big game yesterday. He had 3 base hits and made another sensational catch up against the wall in right center field.
It's back over the screen out of play. Kevin Pillar loves to play the game. And obviously, when you're a major league player, the financial rewards are such that you can be set up for the rest of your life. But he truly enjoys everything about playing the game. He likes to practice the game. He likes to work at the game. He likes to condition to get himself ready for the season.
And he's smart too. I asked him the first day in here, what are you going to do about this field with the ball? He says, I'm going to take that whole first round of batting practice and just watch. And it's helped him.
Pilar strikes out. The Blue Jays get another run. They have made it a 4-1 game as we head to the bottom of the 7th. Action tomorrow night. The front-running Baltimore Orioles will take on the Seattle Mariners at Safeco Field in Seattle. It all starts at 10 Eastern. That's 7 Pacific time on Sportsnet 1. And again, the Orioles are at it down in San Diego right now as they continue to hit home runs. Mark Trumbo has pounded out his 23rd home run of the season. The Orioles, behind Giovanni Gallardo, have a 6-0 lead over San Diego.
55 home runs they have hit this month, the Baltimore Orioles, in the month of June. The most homers in any month is 58 by the 87 Orioles and the 99 Mariners. So after today, they'll have one more day to try and set a new record for most home runs in a month by a team. 55 home runs.
7 different Orioles have hit at least 5 home runs this month. They have a well-balanced attack, and remember, they missed J.J. Hardy for about 6 weeks of the season. Aaron Sanchez dealing to Mark Reynolds. There's a curveball. We haven't seen many curveballs from Sanchez, and that's been the pattern here at Coors Field. He struck out Brandon Barnes in the 2nd with a curveball. Comes right back with them there and gets Reynolds to foul tip.
Nice. He really stayed over the rubber a long time and let his arm catch up to him right there to finish that one off. Marco Estrada did not throw many curveballs. Pitched a good game over here, but didn't have much to show for it. You can't come in here and not use one of your weapons. That's what you don't want to do.
You have to throw it just to put it in the hitters' minds. Fastball, that's looped into right. Reynolds fought it off and flares it into right field. A leadoff single here in the 7th.
The all-new Civic, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Mark Reynolds, the first baseman, 1 for 3. Daniel Descalzo, Sanchez hasn't been able to solve him yet. Descalzo's 2 for 2 with the RBI for Colorado. Both singles going right back over the mound.
Right back through the middle now. He can get out of this mess with one pitch because he throws so many ground balls. But he's going to have to make a good pitch.
Aaron has been efficient. He's thrown just 85 pitches to this point. No swing, according to third base ump Laz Diaz. 3-0 to Descalzo. A 4-pitch walk in the first 2 reach against Sanchez here in the 7th. Blue Jays have turned 1 double play this afternoon, and when you look at Aaron Sanchez and where he ranks in ground ball percentage, it's a high percentage play to get that double play.
That's why if you give up that base hit and then a walk, you can throw that double play ball. He did that in the only inning that the Rockies scored their run. They had an infield hit and then another hit by Gonzalez, a ground ball double play by Reynolds. Just has to make a good pitch here against Brandon Barnes. Barnes has been swinging a hot bat. He was robbed of a hit his last time up. Got that average up to 270.
Barnes 0 for 3.
He's had 5 hits in this series, and again, it was robbed his last time up.
Check that. He's 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out. Another swing at a high pitch. Josh Tolley's done a nice job with Sanchez today, mixing up the pitches very effectively. Ryan Tepera starting to loosen up for the Blue Jays.
You need an out here where the base runners don't advance. A strikeout, a pop-up, a shallow fly ball.
Fly ball into center, no problem for Pilar. He gets there, and the runners have to hold their ground.
And the reason why you get that, you want to get that, is you want to keep that double play in order. So the runners can't move up. And now with that great sinking fastball, he can get a ball on the ground and get out of this inning with no harm.
Sanchez has done a good job with Arenado, Gonzalez, and Reynolds. Big bats in this batting order. They are 3 for 9, and they all have hit singles, and both Arenado and Gonzalez hit ground ball singles that just snuck through the infield. Tony Wolters, the catcher.
They do not have a left-hander on their bench. Pitcher spot is next. Just 4 right-handed batters on the bench for the Rockies.
You see Ryan Rayburn standing on the edge of the grass. He has come out for the pitcher's spot. Rayburn was scheduled to start in last night's game. He was sick at the start of the game and scratched. He made an appearance later on. (3-0) to the number 8 hitter.
Taken all the way right there. He'll probably take 2 pitches now. He was taking that 2-0 pitch all the way.
That walk will load the bases for Colorado. 2 walks in the inning. A bloop base hit to start it. Now Sanchez will face the pinch hitter Ryan Rayburn. batting for the pitcher, Jordan Lyles.
And be careful on the first pitch. This guy walks up there looking for that first pitch fastball. You can see he's got a little bit of power. He's got 7 home runs.
Rayburn, as a pinch hitter, has 2 pinch hit home runs. He is 5 for 22, but he's up there looking to do some damage.
Yes, and early in the count. Give him a good sinker right here, down.
Goes after the first pitch and hits it into the seats.
See, that ball is starting to leak up just a little bit for Sanchez. Might indicate that he's starting to get tired. He's at 95 pitches.
Yeah, you can add about 20% to the pitch count here because of the thin air in Colorado. Plus the fact, remember, in his first at bat, he had a nasty collision at first base, took a tumble down the first baseline. Ground ball. Travis comes after it. They go to second and get the force out. Return is a double play. Oh, what a good turn by Tulowitzki. He reached back for a little extra. Didn't look like that was sharply hit enough to turn 2. But Travis gave Tulowitzki a good feed, and watch the shortstop reach back for a little extra and guns to first for the double play. Tim and Sid, it's coming up next right after this ball game, and Tim and Sid will break down all the breaking news in the hockey world. Andrew Luck also signed a new contract. Steven Stamkos re-signed with Tampa Bay Lightning, so there's a lot coming up on Tim and Sid, so make sure you stay tuned. New pitcher for Colorado, Gonzalez Germain. He is pitching for the second time in this series.
He pitched here on Monday. 1-2-3 inning, very quick inning. Got Cabrera, Travis, and Donaldson. Finish that thing off. He throws a lot of strikes, comes right after you. 27 games, you see the 29 innings. That is second on the team with 29 relief innings. He is also 2-0 this year. He will get the bottom third of the order this time around.
Junior Lake doubled his first time up. He's 1 for 3 on the afternoon. He started in right field today. Josh Tolley then the pitcher's spot. Inside, 2-0 to the leadoff man in the 8th.
What a job Sanchez has done today. It looks like his afternoon might be finished. His spot is third this inning.
Three and 0 to Junior Lake, and Sanchez got his batting gloves and his batting helmet. He's ready to come up and hit. 3-0 pitch. A 4-pitch walk to start the inning. So Gonzalez Germain comes in and walks the first batter he faces. Tyler Anderson was the starter for Colorado. He pitched 6 innings, allowed 3 runs on 8 hits, 2 earned runs, as one of the runs came in as a result of catcher's interference. Tony Wolters encouraging Germain to be more aggressive. Hey, come on, throw it to me. Let's go. Leadoff walk. You're already down by 3 late in the ball game. The Rockies have a terrific offensive team, but you see where they rank in the major leagues as far as the pitching goes. Not too good.
They can score with anybody, averaging over 5 runs a game. They're third in batting average and home runs. They got plenty of those, but they can't put the pitching together. They're down there in ERA, batting average against. And right now, he can't find the plate.
5 straight balls since coming into the game for Germain. Walt Weiss has gotten some action in the bullpen. There's the strike. Boone Logan, the left-hander, loosening up. We've not seen Logan in this series to this point. Josh Tolley's had a 2-hit afternoon. A single to center and a single to right.
In his only time they retired him, he had a line drive right at the shortstop with a couple of runners on base. Good eye.
3-1. Sanchez is on deck. Now, if Tolley reaches, Sanchez might come up to bunt.
Save a pinch hitter. Well, he's getting called back now by John Gibbons, talking about what they want to do here.
Back-to-back walks to start the inning. Now Sanchez will come to the plate. This is his 4th plate appearance. In his first at bat, he chopped one to first. He beat it out initially. It would have been 2 RBIs. He collided with the pitcher Tyler Anderson and tumbled to the ground beyond the bag at first, but replay review, the call was overturned. He was called out.
2 runs were taken off the board for the Blue Jays, and now up there, everybody is assuming that he is going to bunt. If you're going to bunt, make Arenado field it.
Get the third baseman away from the bag. Sanchez not showing signs of bunting. Takes a strike. You find this curious?
Very curious. First thing I find curious, he's had 96 pitches, and they've been pretty consistent with right around 100 pitches. The pitcher is done, and he's done for the day. So I thought we would see a pinch hitter. We don't see a pinch hitter, and he's not bunting.
And it's interesting, too, because the Rockies will send their leadoff man to the plate for the 4th time if Sanchez stays in the game. Top 3 in the order.
This might be one of those take everything. Don't swing. I'll sacrifice an out here. I just don't want you running on the bases.
Yeah, he's taken all the way, and obviously they have given Sanchez instructions not to bunt, to square around and possibly run the risk of an injury. So John Gibbons would just soon sacrifice an out without Sanchez swinging the bat. And he's called out on strikes. So Carrera hesitated as he made his way toward the plate. That's because Walt Weiss, the manager, had popped out of the Rockies dugout, and he's already made the call to the bullpen. So with runners at first and second and one out in the eighth, Walt Weiss will go to the bullpen and bring in Boone Logan, the left-hander, to face Ezekiel Carrera. Germain out of the game. Boone Logan coming in. The veteran Boone Logan into the ball game. This will be his 30th game of the season, and he's probably going to be assigned just one batter, and that's Ezekiel Carrera, lefty on lefty.
Stop the bleeding right here. He's been in the big league since 2006. He's been with the White Sox, the Atlanta Braves, the Yankees, and now Colorado as he begins his third year with them. 544 career appearances. That's third among active left-handers. Still throws hard.
Carrera, starting in left field in place of Michael Saunders today, has gone 1 for 3 so far with a walk in the fourth. Carrera lines it to right. Gonzalez gets over and makes a running catch. Now that's interesting now because the right-hander that got up has just started to throw.
He can't be loose,
He can't be loose because Boone Logan gets Carrera quickly. It doesn't look like he's in a hurry to get loose either. So maybe Boone Logan will just continue on with the right-hander, Travis. Devin singled in the 7th, his 6th hit in the 3-game series. He was driven in by Encarnacion in the 7th. That was the last Blue Jay run.
Did not have a lot of success against the lefty today. Struck out 3 times against the lefty Anderson, singled off the right-hander. Now Boone Logan's a little bit different than Tyler Anderson. Throws a little bit harder.
High fly ball into center. Charlie Blackmon over and makes the catch. Boone Logan comes in and gets 2 outs to close out the Blue Jays in the top of the 8th. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th, 4-1 Jays. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie and Greg in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Sports Service delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
We're in the bottom of the 8th. Aaron Sanchez comes back out to start the inning. The Blue Jays bullpen is throwing. Sanchez, 96 pitches, 6 hits over 7 innings. He's allowed just a single run. That came back in the 4th.
He's going to play it pitch by pitch, batter by batter. John Gibbons says, I need 6 outs. Who's going to get them?
Ball and a strike to Charlie Blackmon, the leadoff hitter. Well, you look at the Blue Jays bullpen and how it has worked. They used 3 pitchers in each of the first 2 games out of the bullpen. Storen, Chavez, and Tepera on Monday night. That's a long, deep drive to right, but it's a foul ball. Charlie Blackmon hit 5 home runs last week when he was named the National League Player of the Week.
Looked like a changeup that he got out in front on. Just a little bit. Pulled it foul.
I think this move by John Gibbons with Sanchez starting the 8th just really reflects where he's at with his bullpen.
Yes.
I think the bullpen has pitched a little bit too much in this series, and he's not really that confident with him. Sanchez has held the Rockies to a run on 6 hits, and his pitch count's in pretty good shape.
This next pitch will be number 100 of the afternoon. Overthrew that one. Counting outs. He's got a set number in mind for pitches, and he's hoping that Sanchez can get 1, 2, hopefully 3 outs this inning quickly, and then he can go to Osuna.
Osuna threw 14 pitches in an inning in the 3rd last night, so he's okay. He's in good shape. I think what Gibbons is concerned about, the 6 runs the bullpen gave up in the 7th inning on Monday. And he has probably in the back of his mind knowledge that he's going to get maybe 2, possibly 1 for sure, relievers tomorrow. When Conachon steps on the bag, the way everything has unfolded this week, it sounds like Brett Cecil for sure is coming to the Blue Jays tomorrow.
Yeah.
And maybe within a day or 2, Franklin Morales will be right behind him.
Right now, the Blue Jays do not have a lefty in their bullpen. 7 right-handers. Jason Grilli threw in yesterday's game, him not being In this one, you figure that he might be down. Ryan Tepera's throwing. Bo Schultz should be okay. And then maybe Osuna in the 9th inning. We'll see how they play it.
Well, the Indians, they have a very good lineup. There's another ground ball off the bat of Christian Adames. That's just exactly what John Gibbons was looking for.
Yes.
2 quick outs.
Some quick outs, and they swing at the first pitch and hit another ground ball. Now he's got to deal with Arenado. Arenado's going to be a tough out. This is where you wish you had that lefty in the bullpen, because if he does get on, you can then go to your lefty against a hot hitter in Gonzalez.
Now, I think even if Arenado gets on, you got to give Gonzalez a different look. It's his 4th at bat against Sanchez. But right now, the man at hand and the focus is Arenado. You know, we can sit up here and try to get into John Gibbons' mind, but he has an idea. He knows who he's confident in down in that bullpen and who he's not. Plus, he knows that Sanchez has really done a good job. The only run that the Rockies scored was as a result of 3 ground ball base hits.
That last one, a 2-out base hit that scored their only run.
Popped up. Tolley right around home plate is there, and Sanchez is through 8 innings. What a good inning for Aaron Sanchez. One that John Gibbons was really looking for. We'll go to the 9th, the Blue Jays with a 4-1 lead. Sanchez went back out to pitch the 8th inning, and he handled the top of the order very easily. A terrific job by Sanchez and everybody in the dugout. Very appreciative of that good effort, and none more appreciative than the skipper, John Gibbons.
He showed confidence in him. He said, you know, I'm going to let you go out there and start that 8th inning because I'm going to let you hit in the top of the inning. He did. He was counting pitches. He was counting batters. He was counting outs, and Aaron got 3 of them to finish with 8 innings.
He's in line for his 8th win of the season, and he would go to 6-0 on the road. This is Carlos Estevez, the closer for the Rockies. His first appearance. He needs to work.
Yeah, he is closing because Jake McGee's been on the disabled list with some problems. So Estevez has taken over that role. He's 6'4", 210, and he throws hard. He was an international free agent signed in May of 2011. He's got good command, good control, easy arm action, and he can bring it.
Josh Donaldson, a couple of hits today, 2 for 3 in the afternoon, including his 18th home run of the season. Boy, he's seeing the ball well. He didn't even flinch at that 98-mile-an-hour fastball inside. Saw it all the way.
I think he feels like they're going to try and pitch him in, and he is just letting that thing go. He's looking for the ball out over the plate.
Got a slider and went after it, and he's talking to himself right now. That ball was a little bit low. .100 miles an hour, but Donaldson's able to fight it off. Roberto Osuna is throwing in the Blue Jays bullpen. As we mentioned, he pitched an inning and a third in last night's game, but threw just 14 pitches. He came in to strike out DJ LeMahieu to end the 8th. That ball's in the air to right. Gonzalez gets there and makes the catch. Aaron Sanchez, his day appears to be done. He goes 8 innings and he was in command all afternoon. 6 hits, a single run. That came with 2 outs in the 4th. He walked 2, struck out 3, and was really dominant.
Conquering Coors Field this afternoon against a Rockies team that could really hit. Remember his first time up also. He took a tumble over there at first base. George Poulos had to come out and talk to him, see if he was okay. Ran into the pitcher, collided with him right at the base. Bet you he enjoyed that. He's the kind of guy who enjoys those kind of things, the baseball, well, being a baseball player.
He would have had 2 RBIs. 2 runs came in on the play if he beat it out at first, but the replay review overturned the safe call at first. Sanchez looking to go 8-1 for the season. Right on the outside corner.
99. They just haven't given him much to hit since he hit those 2 home runs here on Monday.
He'll take another walk. He walked 3 times in last night's game. He walks for the first time today. Edwin with 2 hits in the ball game. Ryan Goins comes out to take over for Encarnacion as a pinch runner.
He could play first base, or you could bring Justin Smoke in for the bottom of the inning. We'll see, but a little bit more speed. John Gibbons thinking about getting another add-on run.
Troy Tulowitzki had an RBI single in the 3rd inning. Blue Jays have 4 runs on 11 hits. Rockies 1 run on 6 hits. Carlos Estevez is 23 years old, and as Pat mentioned, he's a big man, 6'4", 210. This is his first major league season. He signed as an international non-drafted free agent in 2011. He made 15 starts in his first 2 seasons. That was in the Dominican Summer League. But ever since then, he's been working out of the bullpen. Had 26 saves in Double-A last year.
He's got 4 of them this year with a couple of wins out of the bullpen. And averaging over a strikeout an inning, but right now he's lost at the Colorado Rockies bullpen will walk you. They've got the second highest walk rate per 9 in all of baseball.
Well, and that certainly doesn't play well here in Coors Field. You put a couple guys on, somebody runs into it, and all of a sudden you're having a nasty outing. Ditto takes ball 4. Well, the Cleveland Indians will come to Rogers Center tomorrow. They play the Atlanta Braves tonight. We'll take a look at the probable starting pitchers in the series. Carlos Carrasco and R.A. Dickey will open it up on Thursday night. And then note the start time Friday. That is Canada Day, so Josh Tomlin and Marcus Stroman will be featured in the afternoon game. Trevor Bauer and Marco Estrada on Saturday. Corey Kluber and Jay Happ on Sunday. Jay winning his 10th game here last night. R.A. Dickey, the knuckleballer, will open up the long homestand for the Blue Jays.
Indians have their longest winning streak in 34 years. That 11-game win streak, trying to make it 12 tonight. Winning streak is the longest in the majors this season. It's also Cleveland's longest since they won 11 straight back in the end of May and June of 1982.
The Indians are loaded with left-handed hitters and switch hitters, so that's why it makes sense to activate Brett Cecil and bring him up for this series. Kevin Pillar, 1 for 4 to this point. Breaking ball for a strike.
There's Michael Saunders, who has grabbed the bat. Looks like he's going to pinch hit for Junior Lake. Nobody warming up in the bullpen for the Rockies. Oh, not again.
That's what Pillar's thinking right there. He fouled the ball off his right knee in last night's game. That pitch inside with a sinking fastball. And that's the last thing he wanted.
This is last night what you were talking about, that pitch that was on the inner half, and that went right on his knee, and he went right down. That thing blew up on him also, but he continued in the game, had a great game, and finished it off. Today, that hard sinker from Esteves, that one right off the instep, right off the ankle. Sends Kevin down. Man, and getting beat up, but he is a tough guy.
I tell you what, that's really tough. You get one off the right knee, and now you hit yourself on the left ankle. Just got to focus on the pitcher. Don't think about the pain. Waves at that breaking ball and strikes out. That's the second out of the top half of the ninth.
I've always felt that this kid could be a closer. You can see why. He throws hard, and he's got a nice slider. His command's a little bit off. Now he gets the left-hander Saunders.
Michael Saunders will pinch hit for Junior Lake. Lake got the start in right field, went 1 for 3 with a walk. Now Saunders, batting .293, will come to the plate as a pinch hitter here in the ninth. Saunders, just his second pinch hitting at bat. Oh for 1. Went too far on the breaking ball. He falls behind 0-1. Blue Jays lead. interesting how the injury to one guy has such a rippling effect in a bullpen. With Jake McGee out, Estevez could be the 8th inning guy. McGee was the closer. Then everybody gets pushed down into a more comfortable slot.
It's a lot like the Blue Jays last year. You know, when they moved Aaron Sanchez to the bullpen, he took over the 8th inning. That one looks like it hit Saunders. There was a very comforting feeling with Sanchez and Osuna covering the 8th and 9th inning for the Blue Jays last year. Just shortens the game up. You know, you get the lead by the 6th inning, you can turn it over to some of those arms in that bullpen and they can finish it off.
Estevez has walked 2 and hit a batter in this inning, and he really overcooks his inside fastball, and it caught Saunders on that left leg. So now Josh Thole will come to the plate. Boy, he can cap off a great afternoon with a big hit here. He's got 2 hits. He's walked. He's 2 for 3.
Make him come to you. That's the first thing that he should be telling himself right here. You just said he's walked a couple and he's hit a batter. Make sure he comes to you and throws you a good pitch. No. That ball looked like it was off the plate.
Kevin Pillar trying to get the feeling back in his left ankle after taking a foul ball off that ankle. Thole fouls it off. Justin Smoke has come out on deck. If Thole can keep the inning alive, Smoke will bat for the pitcher, and that's the defensive move we were expecting.
Sure.
That ball gets away. Here comes Goins. He's going to score. That add-on run important here in the 9th. Ball got away from Tony Wolters. Goins coming in from 3rd on the wild pitch.
You can see why Estevez, when he comes into the ball game, they play wild thing. This inning shows that. A couple of walks, a hit batter. Now he spikes this pitch right into the ground, and Wolters can't come up with it. Blue Jays get another run. A couple of more runners in scoring position.
.99, but off the plate, it's a full count. Tulowitzki at 3rd. Saunders at 2nd. Thole hits the grounder. Second base, Descalzo throws to first. That ends the inning. Blue Jays get a run. Top half of the 9th, they laid it 5-1. Aaron Sanchez in line for the win. That would be his 8th. Roberto Osuna coming on to close out the 9th. the third in last night's game. He is making his 35th appearance. This is a non-save situation now, as the Blue Jays have a 4-run lead.
It was a non-save situation last night, but he was clean in that game. A 208 earned run average for us. This is his 35th game. A couple other changes for the Blue Jays. Justin Smoke indeed does come into the ball game. He will take over at first base defensively.
Michael Saunders entered the game as a pinch hitter for Junior Lake. He takes over in left field. And with that, Ezekiel Carrera moves from left to right. So the Blue Jays have their best defensive team on the field now, with Osuna set to start the bottom of the ninth. Carlos Gonzalez takes the first pitch upstairs. Kevin Pillar standing on a couple of wounded legs. His right knee took a shot in last night's game. His left ankle took a foul ball in this game. Three and 0, and Osuna falls behind the leadoff man, Carlos Gonzalez.
Taking all the way, he's trying to take a strike.
Three and 2 count now, the leadoff hitter here in the ninth. Blue Jays, if they can hang on for the win, will have gone 3 and 3 on the 6-game road trip. Considering the way things looked in Chicago, 1 and 2, and then losing here, it looked like it was going to be less than 500.
Looked very bleak.
Tough pitch, ball 4. Leadoff man reaches. Tim and Sid will follow this show, and there's been a lot going on in the hockey world, some baseball news. What you got, fellas, coming up after our game? All right, fellas, thanks a lot, and that'll be coming up right after this ball game, the Tim and Sid show. Mark Reynolds goes after the first pitch and drills it over Pillar's head off the wall in center. Gonzalez is being waved home. They got a shot at him at home. Here's the throw, and they don't get it. Tulowitzki didn't expect them to send Gonzalez down by 4. And somebody's got to let him know quicker, because he had a good shot at throwing him out.
He hesitated just for a split second. Now the throw came over the head of the cutoff man, Travis. Usually it's the guy behind him telling him where to throw the baseball. Travis goes out to be the lead cutoff man. But when Pillar overthrows him, there's nobody to tell him. Watch him just hesitate for a second. And that's all it takes to get Gonzalez into home plate. Again, it's usually the guy behind you telling you where to throw, but there's nobody behind Tulo. So he comes up a little bit late, and Cargo scores.
Just a momentary hesitation, enough for Gonzalez to score. 5-2 Blue Jays.
I couldn't believe they sent him being down by 4 runs.
Stu Cole very aggressive at third. The third base coach waved Gonzalez home. Daniel Descalzo's had a perfect day. 2 for 2 with the walk. He's driven in a run. He's going to drive in another, and Descalzo hits a ball to the wall in right. An RBI double. And the Rockies will get the tying run to the plate with nobody out here in the ninth. RBI number 16 for the Rockies second baseman.
Boy, what a series he's put together against the Blue Jays. been on base 4 times this afternoon. Pete Walker out to talk to his starter or his reliever as Descalso takes this fastball. It's right down the middle. He also had a hit on Monday, rips it into the corner for a double. He changes places with Reynolds. How about that big add-on run the Blue Jays got at the top of the inning?
It really doesn't look too big right now with the way the Rockies are swinging the bats.
Tying run at the plate, just like that.
Leadoff walk. It never fails. Brandon Barnes, 0 for 3 today. Osuna came into this game in a non-save situation, and this has always been a challenge for him. For some reason, he always has trouble pitching in non-save situations. He's got to work himself into a mindset that tells him, hey, this is just like a one-run game I'm trying to save.
Well, he did that. 5-3 now. Barnes has potential to knock the ball out of the ballpark. He's reaching back for a little something extra now.
0-2. A little extra on the fastball, and he dispatches Barnes on 3 pitches. 1 down, and the Blue Jay fans are anxious here in Coors Field.
Look at him just reach back for a little something extra and just blows it right by him. That's the hard thing about entering games in non-save situations. For some reason, the heart rate isn't up. There's the numbers. Non-save situation, his ERA is at 3.63.
Tony Wolters lifts it high down the third base line. Donaldson didn't have a chance, and you could see everybody pursuing it. They know all about Coors Field.
Yeah, get it out any way you can.
Wolters lined out shortstop and lined out to left field. He walked in the 7th, 0 for 2. Nick Hundley, the catcher, has grabbed the bat. He's on deck.
Yeah, the Rockies playing a little short with some injuries. They don't have a left-handed batter on their bench. Pitcher spot is up next.
Trevor Story and DJ LeMahieu both appeared in last night's game, but they're not 100%. The Rockies have an off day tomorrow, and then they will travel to play the Dodgers and the Giants in their upcoming road trip. And both their shortstop and second baseman dinged up right now. Oh, and 2 count to the Rockies catcher. Roberto Osuna in relief of Aaron Sanchez. Rockies have scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th. Just 1 out.
He is in total defensive mode up there at the plate, trying to protect with 2 strikes.
This is going to sail into the seats.
You know, and I say that, he's just fouling off those fastballs. Do you try and throw a slider here? That's the decision the Blue Jays are having right now. Do you try and throw a bad breaking ball out of the strike zone to see if he'll swing at it? You never want to get beat with your second best pitch.
But Osuna can throw that breaking ball in the dirt right here. Fastball drilled to right. Pereira over. He's not going to get it. Eschner had to hold at second base, and he'll just advance to third. Descalso had to make sure that ball was down safely. Wolters gets his fastball and turns on it. That's the 3rd double of the inning for Colorado.
Wow, didn't see that coming from Wolters. It's a fastball that's up. I thought they might go to a breaking ball just to give him something different to look at. He kept fouling off the fastball in defensive mode. That time he got one that was up. Descalso, you're right, he couldn't move up but 90 feet.
For Walters, that's his 9th double in just over 115 at-bats. So Descalso's at 3rd. Walters, representing the tying run, is at 2nd. And the pinch hitter is the catcher, Nick Hundley. Hundley started the first 2 games of this series. Hundley had a double in last night's game in his first at bat. He was 1 for 5 in the game, and last night 0 for 4 in the opener. 1 for 9 in the series. First pitch swinging.
And that was a slider right there. Infielders, you got to want the ball right here.
The infielders have to knock a ground ball down and keep it on the infield. You can't let anything go through if you can get to it.
Yeah, they'll trade an out right here for a run. The run at third base doesn't mean anything. It's the guy at second and the guy standing at the plate.
Good slider. 0-2. This place reminds us of Fenway Park.
Yes. Every out is valuable.
Justin Smokin defensively at first. Good block by Tolley. 1-2. Roberto Osuna walked Carlos Gonzalez to start the inning. Reynolds hit a double over Pilar's head in center. Descalso doubled to right. Barnes struck out, and then Walters doubled to right. One and two. Got him. Another breaking ball, and the pinch hitter Nick Hundley strikes out. And the Blue Jays aren't out of the woods yet.
He used the slider to pick up that second strikeout of the afternoon for Osuna. There it is. He spins it in a good spot, down and away. Now I think you got to talk with Josh Tolley going out there. You actually have a base open here and a very good hitter, an experienced hitter coming up in Charlie Blackmon. You got a younger hitter who's 0 for on deck.
Blackmon has hit .362 with runners in scoring position. He can put the bat on the ball. Christian Adames on deck. Adames 0 for 4. Blackmon 1 for 4 so far this afternoon. This is the toughest kind of hitter to deal with in a situation like this. He puts the bat on the ball. He's short. He's just trying to.
He's a tough out. He's a tough out. And if you make a mistake, he can launch it out of here.
Well, he went after a ball inside. Good fastball right in on his hands. He needs a new bat.
He put that one in a good spot right there. There wasn't much that Charlie Blackmon can do with that pitch on the inner half. Right there, just try and fight it off. Broke his bat.
Osuna, pitching in last night's game, worked to the bottom part of the order. He came in and struck out DJ LeMahieu to end the 8th, and then got Reynolds, Hundley, and Barnes 6, 7, and 8 in the batting order. He telegraphed that changeup, really tried to guide it in there, and it was upstairs. 2-1 count to Blackmon.
I hope he was just showing him that pitch, that hey, I got it, and they're going to just pound him in.
Hit him. That might not be a bad thing.
Right. Pound them in if you walk them or if you end up hitting them. Now you can set up a force at any base. And you got a little bit less experienced batter at the plate.
Adames is a very aggressive swinger. Christian Adames, the second baseman for the middle game of this series. He has played shortstop in the first and third games of this series. Adames has hit .067 with runners in scoring position. Bases are loaded. The tying run is at second. First pitch strike.
Josh Donaldson always into the game. You can see him telling Ezekiel Carrero to come in. You don't have to play that deep in right field. Guy doesn't miss much over there at third base.
Cut on and missed. Adames faced that breaking ball down and in. He is the 8th Rocky to bat this inning. Did he go? Yes, he did. Home plate umpire Nick Lentz calls him out, and that's the ball game. Osuna would strike out 3 in the inning. The Rockies made it interesting, but the Blue Jays win it 5-3 and take the series 2-1.
Roberto Osuna did the right thing. He wasn't going to give the experienced hitter Charlie Blackmon something to hit. He ended up hitting him, putting him on base, setting up a force anywhere. Said, let me take my chance with the younger, less experienced Adames, and he struck him out quickly. Blue Jays win the series, gain a little bit momentum as they head back home. They finish up this road trip at 3-3.
The Blue Jays go 3-3 on the 6-game road trip. We'll be back with you tomorrow night from Rogers Center. Cleveland's in town. Stay tuned. Here's Tim and Sid with lots of news in the sports world.